Hello, I'm Theodore Parker, and this is a sideshow coming to you today, Friday, November 22nd, 2024, from Lexington, Kentucky, here in the USA. Weather-wise, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 40s and lows in the upper 30s. Snow, wind, rain, and cold with strong low. Expect Sunday to be the next sunny day. The high today will be 43 degrees. Now the temperature is sitting at 35 and feels like 27 degrees. Northeast blasted by snow, beneficial rain as major airport hubs face Thanksgiving travel delays. Today, here on the East Coast, sunrise was at 7:26 a.m. Sunset will be at 5:21 p.m. The wind, 9 miles per hour. The AQI is good at 12 and pollen, none. As I said, this is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. And if you're watching, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Well, here we are, a week away from Thanksgiving, and as shoppers know, right after that is Black Friday. You've had a couple of Fridays this month to practice your shopping technique and get ready for the holidays when it officially takes off. So, I thought I would share one or two items in the news with you today. Friday, November the 22nd, 2024. So let's start. I was just thinking this time last year, right after Veterans Day, and especially on Veterans Day, veterans that I know had decided on Veterans Day that we would go out as a group and have a meal because local restaurants here, and I'm quite sure across the country, offer free meals to vets. And that brought me around to Thanksgiving again from last year. So some people in that same group decided that we would do Thanksgiving together as well. So we picked a location not far from where we were residing and proceeded over there, got in line, got seated. And as we looked around, who is there but Coach John Calipari and UK's men's basketball team? So it was part of their give back to the community thing. So as he worked his way around the room and got to our table and greeted everybody, we took a group picture. And because it was being covered by one of the local TV stations, that picture ended up being displayed on TV. And I'm in that picture. So here we are a year later. Things have changed. I use an expression, the smoke is cleared and the dust has settled. And now Coach Cal is with Arkansas. And UK has a new coach, men's head basketball coach, Mark Pope. So there's a lot of back and forth. We just got a few games under our belt on both sides, Arkansas and Kentucky. And Kentucky is coming off of their win against number 6 Duke. And so it's an ongoing thing. Everyone understands that records show that Coach Cal has put a number of college basketball players transitioned into the NBA. And not going stat by stat, numbers by numbers, that in itself is a phenomenal thing based on this. If you remember when the NBA celebrated its 75 years and all the players were acknowledged at that time that one fact was pushed forward, that in those 75 years, only 5,000 men have actually set foot on the on a NBA basketball court. And when you understand how many young guys pick up a basketball, play the game, enjoy the game, play the game well, that's the number that has actually received professional recognition and gotten paid. So I thought that I would share an article, not the whole thing because it's pretty detailed, but just some of the content of it from a Arkansas reporter who is looking at some of the same things that we are looking at on both sides. Excuse me. And the person who wrote this article is called Michael Mann, and it's dated November 21st, 2024. It's under Boaz, Arkansas Sports. So if you're like me, after I was thinking 12 seasons under Coach Cal for UK's men's basketball, but actually it was 15. So that's a long time to be around somebody. And for myself personally, because of different things that I have done, I found myself in the same room with Coach John Calipari on a few occasions other than basketball. So here we go. The title of this one is called Wavering Loyalties of Former UK Stars Further Inflame Rivalry with Arkansas. And for those of you outside the country, all of us have our sports and things of this nature. But for us, members of the SEC Southeast Conference include Kentucky and Arkansas. And as you know, the group participates, and for all intents and purposes, they are rivals trying to achieve the same thing, an NCAA championship. So here we go. Whose side are you on? Red or blue? After a heated election cycle, you'd be forgiven for thinking we are talking about Democrats and Republicans. But that's not the case. The tensions are thick here in the heart of the Southeastern Conference, specifically in the case of Arkansas and Kentucky's basketball feud of several months. Whether it's crowd sizes, recruiting battles, or petty comments about margin of victory, it's been an endless stream of trolling between the two fan bases. John Calipari had enjoyed success of the highest caliber in the past, but had fallen on less glamorous times in recent years. Mark Pope, on the other hand, presents a promising future and the ability to take the UK in a new direction. But it's a big leap for a coach who has yet to win an NCAA tournament game. Despite that, Kentucky's scorching start to the season, including a massive win over number 6 Duke, has UK fans over the moon about what Pope's squad can do come March. The new errors at both schools and pre-existing bad blood between them have caused crowing on social media and message boards to go to the next level. Two-sided turf war breaks out between Razorback and Big Blue Nation. After Arkansas defeated Pacific 91-72, the program's Twitter account posted a final score graphic with a simple caption, "Never trailed in this one." You would expect the replies to this post to be filled with, Arkansas fans, giving their take on what was an imperfect but eventually convincing win over a pretty terrible mid-major squad. Instead, the comment section was invaded by Kentucky fans, launching Molotov cocktails at their former coach. Another struggle against the high school team. Incoming obsessed Kentucky fans, numerous Arkansas fans replied. The very next night, the two fan bases were at it again, this time in the aftermath of UK's 30-point drubbing of Lipscomb, a team Arkansas beat by only 16 in its season opener. Rump Arena was a packed house despite the fact it was a mid-major opponent on a Tuesday night. And the Razorback Nation certainly took notice of the difference in crowd size. Arkansas's low attendance in the first three home games of the season have given Big Blue Nation plenty of ammunition to launch towards Razorback fans, and deservingly so. Attendance is not something Arkansas struggled with during the Musselman era, even against much weaker competition early in the season. So the fact that it's a problem now with Calipari is of course going to invite such jabs. There are plenty of reasons for why the crowds in Bud Walton Arena have been sparse so far, more than enough to warrant a column of its own. Oh, wait. Here's one from Best of Arkansas Sports' very own Evan DeMuro, warm off the press. And that's so you can link the article. It's almost become an expectation for Razorback fans to have daily sparring matches with Kentucky supporters on social media. It's not just crowd sizes either. Whether it's the trio of transfers in Adu Theodore, DJ Wagner, and I think here of all the names that are being dropped in the article is one that stands out because if I'm understanding it correctly, DJ Wagner is the son of a former NBA player. And Vanamir Vesic, or high school signees like Boogie Fland, Carter with the K Knox, and Billy Richmond. Kentucky fans have certainly taken notice of the fact that most of Arkansas's roster is made up of former Kentucky players and signees. And the article goes on to mention Tyler Eulis and Coach Kenny Payne has also relocated to Arkansas. As a result, large swaths of BBN have been lobbing insults at their former Wildcats turned Hogs. But the trolling and constant comparisons between the two programs are far from a one-way train. Arkansas fans are doing more than their fair share perpetuating this online turf war with Kentucky. In addition to using Kentucky as a measuring stick, Arkansas fans have also been quick to gloat when the Hogs snatched a recruit away from the Cats, be it a UK transfer or a recruit they were in the mix for. Arkansas and Kentucky trade blows in recruiting. When five-star point guard Darius Acuff Jr. committed to Arkansas, Hawk fans were quick to jump online and troll by exclaiming that Kentucky is in shambles. I was personally adding to this turf war, says the writer of the article, too, writing about Boogie Fland's commitment that UK recruits continuing to flip to the Razorbacks make it clear that most of them were more attached to Calipari than the school itself. And here is the crux of the article. Is it Calipari or is it UK as his former place of employment? So the article goes on. That debate is continuing in the class of 2025 as the two coaches compete to secure the better group of recruits in their first full cycle at their new outpost. Arkansas landed the first punch with a cuff, but Kentucky responded by securing five-star guard Jasper Johnson and four-star center Malachi Marino. Just when the Hogs thought they got the last laugh by signing number one shooting guard Malik Thomas, the Cats struck back by emerging as a favorite for five-star wing Caleb Wilson, while Arkansas didn't make the cut as one of his finalists. In every instance, fans of the prevailing program make sure to talk their talk to the other fan base. And here we go. Who's bigger, Calipari or Kentucky? When Coach Cal took the Arkansas job, he turned a lot of heads with his comment that it was still going to be Calipari University. He was just changing headquarters. That sparked an ongoing debate within this larger feud over who played a larger part in Kentucky's success and prominence over the last 15 years. UK's status as a true blood or Calipari's recruiting ability and brand building. The answer so far has been a completely mixed bag. Kentucky's crowd sizes and recent triumph over Duke suggest a reinvigorated enthusiasm in Big Blue Nation that won't be going anywhere. Arkansas's issues with crowds will almost certainly go away once SEC play tips off. But it shouldn't be an issue in the first place in year one of a highly anticipated era. Score one for the Cats. But on the other hand, recruiting is an area that emphasizes Calipari's influence. Arkansas's 2024 class was ranked number 3 in the nation by 24/7 Sports, while Post's inaugural Kentucky class slotted in at 31st. The 2025 class is shaping up to be a more competitive cycle, with both programs currently in the top 5, but Arkansas still has the slight edge. The Hogs have only out-recruited Kentucky once in recent memory, when the generational 2022 class brought in the 5-star trio of Nick Smith Jr., Anthony Black, and Jordan Walsh. Other than that, UK has had the undisputed upper hand in recruiting, and it hasn't been close. But Calipari's time in Arkansas so far has changed that dynamic. Coach Cal's recruiting prowess resulted in dozens of Wildcats going to the NBA during his time at Kentucky. Now, those very same alumni become the faces of the Cal or Kentucky argument. Are BBN alumni voting blue or red? I'll drop a few names here in this category. P.J. Washington was likely the most talked about Kentucky alum to rep the Razorbacks this offseason. Not only did Washington come visit Cal at Arkansas, he repped an Arkansas shirt while doing so. This did not sit well with Big Blue Nation, and they responded accordingly. Next, John Wall appears to be still in the Kentucky camp, judging by numerous comments he made on his podcast back in April. It's sad to see Calipari leave, he said. I'm still part of Kentucky. I'm still going to be Big Blue Nation. That's always family. I have the jersey tatted on me. There's always love and support for Kentucky, and that's never going to change. Malik Monk, the former 5-star recruit from Arkansas who spurned the Razorbacks to play for Coach Cal at Kentucky, seems on board with the Hogs in a shocking twist. He even went so far as to say he would be catching some games in the Bud Walton Arena this season. Kentucky fans were predictably upset, but Arkansas fans were also divided on Monk's take. The reaction to this homecoming will obviously be mixed, but for Monk, this is the best of both worlds. His coach coaching at his home school. Tyler Ulis is now officially on staff at Arkansas, and is the most likely of anyone on this list to have mixed loyalties after playing and coaching for Kentucky, but now working for the Razorbacks. In the most literal sense, Ulis is representing Arkansas in every game this season from the Hogs bench. Carl Anthony Towns took a photo with Calipari this summer, sporting an interesting fashion choice, a red polo. Coincidence? Maybe, maybe not. But Towns did clarify his comments later on the Paul Feinbaum show. I bleed blue, he said. I'm always going to be about UK. I'm always going to be about Kentucky. I'm always going to be a Wildcat for life. DeMarcus Cousins made his feelings pretty clear on who the difference maker was in the Calipari-Kentucky relationship, and some comments made on his podcast after Cal's move to Arkansas. Kentucky won't be on TV anymore, and it's going to be hard to get a kid to go to Kentucky if they're not on TV, Cousins said. What kids are looking for in today's time is what's hot, what's cool, what's relevant. I want to be on TV every night to show my talent. Guess what team is going to be on TV every night? The Arkansas Razorbacks. And so it continues. It's pretty intensive, pretty detailed. Again, the title of the article coming out of Boaz for Arkansas Sports, wavering loyalties of former UK stars further inflame rivalry with Arkansas. And as it is usually commented and said, we'll see. Next, I wanted to cover the CMAs. Now, in all fairness, I didn't watch the CMAs, so I don't know all like the particulars. But as the comments rolled out, what discussions came on the table this meeting was the mention of Beyonce's album Cowboy Carter. So we know how it went when the album dropped, right? So at that time, there was mixed comments, is it country? Should it be country? I liked it. I listened to it. So it went like she didn't get an award. So feelings have been expressed both ways about that. Yes, she should, and no, she shouldn't. The no's are saying that she's not country previously when the album dropped. She's not country, et cetera, things of this nature. So this is where I get my chance to comment what is country. There's an expression, you can take the girl out of the country, but you can't take the country out of the girl. Then there's the one, the way the lower 48 is divided geographically. The South starts at the Mason-Dixon line, which is located in the state of Virginia. Beyonce is from Texas. Any further south and you'll be out of the country. Then there's what people call colloquialisms. Here in the tri-state area that includes Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana, we have a beverage called LA8. But as far as I know, it's only sold in Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana. So, some people might call it a soda, others might call it a pop. But if you don't live in this area, I could say y'all don't know nothing about that. Now, I'm from Pennsylvania, and sometimes my mother would say, we're going to the country. And yesterday was her birthday, which probably made me think of this. And I might not know country, but I know she wasn't talking about the park, and we didn't leave Pennsylvania to get to the country. So is country the bibbed overalls and the straw hat, or, did you have to stop the hogs and raise chickens and cows? Whatever the answer might be, Beyonce's Cowboy Carter album, By the Will of the People, when it dropped, climbed. And sometimes people just don't want to recognize a person's accomplishments and achievements. So that being said, I understand Beyonce's responding to all of this with, I don't need a trophy. So, I said I didn't watch it, and as is true with most award programs and shows, she probably was on the list, but just did not receive the award. So, that's my take on that. Top stories. For Friday, November 22nd, 2024, DOJ, number one, alleged Mexican drug cartel leader who faked own death, arrested in California. Moving on, defense pathologist says Jordan Neely didn't die of chokehold on NYC subway. Biden appears to forget name of Celtics, reveals Secret Service code name during team's White House visit. Continuing with the top stories, here's where Elon Musk says his Doge, D-O-G-E, will aim to cut federal spending. Piers Morgan mocks Ellen DeGeneres over reported decision to move to England after Trump win. This volcano, previously dormant for 800 years, is erupting again. I think that's New Zealand. Howley says Mayorkas Ray absolutely skipped Senate hearing due to Laken Riley verdict, calls for subpoenas. House passes bill that would allow Treasury to target nonprofits it deems to support terrorism. A former SNL star says Diddy demanded a closed set and he performed, but Will Ferrell crashed his rehearsal as a bit. And number 10 of the top stories, winners and losers of Thursday night football. Browns stun Steelers in wild snow game. So there you have it for Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I would like to leave you with this. We are kind of like officially into the holiday season that closes out the year. And our mind is a wonderful thing. Just looking at the technology that we have available between the phones, our tablets, laptops, and in some cases PCs, our mind moves so well that we say that our devices are moving slow. But then you have those things crowded in, you can multitask, you can focus, and then every once in a while, there's this thought that comes from the back of your mind to the front of your mind, and you just stop what you're doing and say, oh. That's it. Hashtag.